So I just watched the Peaky Blinders movie, Immortal Man. I want to give some quick thoughts on it. Definitely going to get into spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, go get Netflix, bro. Watch the movie. But overall, I'm seeing a lot of people call it a masterpiece, and Lord knows I love me some Peaky Blinders. I definitely don't think that movie was a masterpiece. I've seen a lot of people calling it rushed, and I really think that's because we're used to it being in a show format. So it's really hard to take this for a normal movie. Like, I don't know if it's actually rushed or if I'm just used to Tommy taking care of villains per season and not in like an hour and a half. Because as great as Tim Roth seems, Tommy has been gone for years. He hasn't done anything combat-wise, he hasn't done anything gangster-wise, and yet once he returns, he's back to his ore farming ways, he kicking ass, he killing people, and relatively quickly, of course, compared to what we see in the show, he deals with and kills the villain. A guy who killed Ada, which I couldn't believe, shot her in the head and tapped her body. Brutal and quick, something I really didn't think we'd ever see. And as heartbroken as I was, it was such a beautiful scene when Tommy saw her ghost before he even knew she was dead. I felt like it was only done to make him seem like some kind of threat, but again, he just wasn't. He was a threat to the economy, I guess, but like I said, Tommy dealt with him pretty quickly. And I think if you watch Peaky Blinders because you think Tommy is a cool character, in that regard, you're probably gonna like the movie. Because even though Tommy should be rusty here, Tommy knew kinda everything. Even after the guy killed Ada, Tommy went to the hospital knowing the dude would just show up and try and kill him. Then they get into a gunfight which Tommy wins because he can count the rounds in the dude's gun. So the guy has to run off. Tommy takes back over the Peaky Blinders, he formulates a plan, thwarts this guy's entire plan to crash the economy, and could have pretty easily killed him. But Tommy is so done in this movie that he allows the guy to shoot him twice in the stomach before eventually shooting him in the head. And then he was just gonna sit there and let himself get run over. So this is probably the most broken Tommy's ever been. I don't even know why I'm saying probably, because this is the most broken. He basically ended his own life, finally. So in the regard of Tommy still being that guy and still being basically unstoppable, I think the movie does that pretty well. Other than that, I couldn't really get anything else from the movie. Like, Tommy's still broken like he always was, except now he's even more broken because he killed Arthur. And I have tried to come to terms with what Tommy did. I understand his explanation. For anybody that didn't see the movie, Arthur was still on opium. I thought we were kind of done with that. He's getting more erratic. He stole Tommy's car, and when Tommy finally found him after Arthur crashed, they got into a fight. I think he said Arthur saw him as like the devil or something. And you can see a bit of the fight because obviously the guy that plays Arthur is not in the movie. So you see the fight through like a rainy window, I guess, to cover that up. But they are fighting. Arthur does try and shoot Tommy, and once Tommy gets rid of the gun, the first time he tells the story, he says the gun went off and accidentally killed Arthur. But upon Ada's death, he confesses what really happened. After disarming Arthur, he strangled him to death. He was just kind of sick of everything Arthur was doing. Arthur was not going to get any better. Tommy was drunk and angry, and there was a moment where he could have just strangled him to unconsciousness, but he decided, whatever man, I'm done with this, and killed his brother. And after watching Peaky Blinders, even with this explanation, which I guess for the confines of the movie makes sense, it's still not enough. It's not enough, man. Tommy loved Arthur. I'm pretty sure he said they were the same person. And he had been dealing with Arthur and his issues for 6 seasons. And then we get a movie where there's a bit of a time skip, and all of a sudden it was too much. And it wasn't too much to like send Arthur away, even to banish him like he banished Finn. It was enough where he strangled him to death. You didn't kill Finn, the traitor, but you murdered Arthur. You're your right-hand man. You're a guy. I don't know. I'm obviously still annoyed by this. I didn't like that decision. I think it was really dumb. Now, obviously, real world stuff. Arthur probably had to die because I heard the actor is definitely a drug addict. He's going through his own things. So if that is all true, I get that Arthur had to die. They should have made it like Arthur taking his own life or something, which is what they first said in the movie before the reveal. I could have lived with that, but Tommy killing him, it's too out of character. I'm sorry, I think that was just dumb. And I felt like Duke was kind of underwhelming. I guess when the trailer was out and it seemed like Duke would be this badass that's just like his father, something they say like 2 or 3 times in a movie. You expect more from the character, but Tommy kind of overshadows him and overwhelms him. They even fight. Tommy whoop his ass. Tommy take the Peaky Blinders from him, at least momentarily. And all in all, the movie kind of makes Duke seem like a kid out of his depth, which I guess he is. I really don't know how old Duke is supposed to be. It just feels like they're trying to show you that Duke is basically Tommy but worse, and I don't think the movie does a good job at portraying that. For most of the movie, Duke just seems hurt that Tommy abandoned him. But overall, I think Duke was just a bit underwhelming, and I wouldn't have minded if they just kept the actor, the original actor for Duke. But maybe they just thought he wasn't good enough. I'm not really sure why they recast him for Barry. I think one of my favorite aspects of the movie though is the kind of gypsy magical stuff that they really embrace here. Like I said, Tommy saw Ada's ghost the minute she was killed, so he kind of knew she was dead. And he even meets Duke's aunt, and with this like gypsy magic, Duke's mother kind of takes over her body and they sleep together, and she convinces Tommy to go help their son. I've always liked that low-key mystical side of Peaky Blinders, and this movie really doesn't shy away from that. But overall, I just thought the movie was above average. I didn't think it was a masterpiece. I knew Tommy was gonna die. He'd been wanting to die for a long time. I guess based on real world stuff, Arthur was gonna die, but I do not like how they handled it. I don't even think Ada needed to die, but it is what it is, I guess. Now Duke is the leader of the Peaky Blinders with no challenge, no nothing, because everyone's dead besides Finn. I guess Finn is just somewhere. I kind of wish we got to see Alfie. I don't know. I guess I was expecting more. I definitely don't think it was a bad movie, just not really a masterpiece. But I've yapped on long enough about this. I want to know how you guys felt about it. This is an okay end to the Peaky Blinders chapter. And if they wanted to do something with Barry Keoghan as Duke, I wouldn't really mind that, just to see him fleshed out more. Because if they're doing all this and we're getting nothing with Duke, I don't really understand the point of the movie. But let me know how y'all felt about it. Hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys on the next one.